By the way, huge disclaimer before you actually watch this video. This video is strictly about God. So if you're not really into that, that's not your cup of tea, don't really watch. I don't recommend. Um, if you're like atheist and you hate religion and you hate God, maybe watch it, maybe not. It's your choice. At the end of the day, I'm talking mainly about God and all that stuff. I'm meaning to make a video for a while now, and I just never got the time and I never got the energy. So I think I want to say a couple of things here and expand my thought on them a while. One of the biggest misconceptions in religion is that people always say, they, genuinely curious, they question, they say, if God genuinely does exist, right, then why is there so much war, so much injustice, so much cruelty out there? Why are all these things happening? Why isn't God stepping in to fix everything? And why is keep shaking? I'm sorry about that. Maybe I should just yeah, there we go. Like, why isn't God stepping in? Why isn't He sort of fixing things? Why is He just letting things happen? If He really does exist. And I think my answer to that, like, by the way, why did He create evil? Why did He create injustice? And I think my answer to that is, let me give you an analogy. I'm really good with analogies. So, in physics, right? We all love physics. We all know physics. Cold and hot. When an object is cold, for example, like this object, I'd say it's medium temperature, right? Right. So if this object was cold, what would that mean in physics? It means that the heat inside of it is no longer there. So why is it cold? Absence of heat. It doesn't have kinetic energy. That's why it's cold. Cold isn't originated. It doesn't come out of nowhere. It is when there is no kinetic energy, when there is no heat that possesses an object. Light and dark. Darkness is the absence of light. It's not, darkness doesn't just poof like that. Darkness isn't a thing by itself. Darkness is the absence of light. Light isn't a thing. Light is something that was created. Darkness was never created. It's simply the absence of light. Is anyone understanding? Does anyone see where I'm coming from? Is anyone connecting the dots? I think that how disgusting, and I'm the most misanthropistic person in the room. Okay, I hate human beings more than anybody else. Don't lecture me on human corruption. Don't you dare. Okay. I think it's a testament to how messed up human beings can be if they are led astray from their moral compass or their religious compass. And it's a reminder. There are reminders literally everywhere around us, that like this is what happens when people abandon their moral compass. When people look at this life as the only stop in your entire journey across worlds. I'm Muslim, not some crazy mythical mystic, not a weirdo. No, I just believe in life and the afterlife, hell, heaven and hell. And then actually in Islam we have a belief that when somebody dies they are sent to al barzakh, which is pretty much the place you spend before judgment day comes around. You just like if you were a good person you just sit there relaxed for like thousands of years, and then if you're a bad person you just look by your side and you hear you see all the hellfire that you're going to be subjugated to, right? Um, so really, I think that it's 4 minutes. I think that people should genuinely stop blaming God for literally all of humanity's disgustingness. God created mountains. He created rivers. He created creatures, animals. He created a, a sort of an environment that is so synchronized in perfect, like it's so in perfect harmonious synchrony. So, and then humans come along and they just create all these weapons of mass destruction using the laws of physics. They create atomic bombs, hydrogen bombs, nuclear bombs. Oftentimes, people genuinely forget to blame the actual human beings than like God itself, God himself. Because like, I get it, I get it, but like still, oh, I got a mullet. Oh, I forgot. I did say that. I already showed that. And so there's actually a verse. There's actually a verse in the Quran where it's like, whatever good comes from, whatever good that befalls you, it comes from God. Whatever bad befalls you, it comes from you. Uh, all these forest fires, all these like natural disasters, most of them are caused by human intervention. God's not just killing animals for the sake of killing animals. Who do you think made all these toxic poisons? Hmm? Who do you think poisoned the oceans and, made like so many environments unlivable? Who do you think did that? Was it God that started pouring, like, I don't know, started mining for fossil fuel and, you know, oil? Was it God that invaded Venezuela and overthrew their admittedly corrupt and horrible leader just for their oil? Was it God that started the war in Iraq and killed over, I think, 500,000 Iraqis? Was it God that made those US soldiers gang rape a 14-year-old girl and then kill her after killing her entire family? Was it God that started the USSR? Was it God that started so many disgusting things in this world? No, no, it wasn't. Thing I'd like to add on before acting like a complete misanthropist for like, it was 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. So, naturally, I asked myself, why the hell did God create human beings then? Why? I just don't understand. These species are so disgusting and they all suck and they're so stupid and they're just dumb. Oh my god, like, man, these people suck so much. They're all morons and they're all just corrupt and stupid, right? And would you look at that? An angel had the exact same question I did. Okay, so if we back up a little bit back in history and go back to when human beings were created, actually, no, before Adam was created, an angel asked God, you're going to create human beings or another species or another, form of creatures that will cause corruption and, and I quote, spill blood across the land. And God said, shh, 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 shh. I know more than you do. Which is a very Giga Chad Sigma response, to be honest, I gotta admit. Uh, but it's not just, for funsies and, for comedic relief. No, no, it signals something. There is a wisdom. There's a huge wisdom behind it. We don't know it because we're not gonna be given every single wisdom. One thing I don't understand, actually, no, one thing people don't understand is that what's the point if every single wisdom was explained to us? A lot of people say like, "Oh, what about this? What about that?" And they ask questions, and that makes sense. Um, I don't blame them. I ask questions more than anybody else. Where do you think all this came from? Asking questions, obviously, but at some point, it's better for human beings to trust God than to actually keep asking questions. And you might be thinking, why? Why do I have to do that? Why can't you just give me all the answers? Well, dummy, that's kind of the point. That's a large point in life, a huge point in life is for you to trust God. It's for you to trust the Creator on the wisdoms that you don't know. Let me give you an example. For example, so back in 1,400 years ago, alcohol was banned. Right? Alcohol was made illegal in Islam, and you can't drink alcohol. If you drink alcohol, you gotta repent, right? And so people were like, "Why?" Right? No, come on, I want to get shit faced. Um, Fast forward like a thousand. You can see my reflection. Fast forward like 1,400 years later. Um, Heart surgeons casually say that heart surgeons, let me repeat myself. Heart surgeons and scientists casually say that alcohol is pretty much toxic to every single cell in the body. Even if you don't need, like, even if you didn't have science, which was not a very huge thing at the time, which Islam actually helped. While women were being humiliated and burned at the stake in Europe for solving basic math problems, Islam was actually like prioritizing and um, crowning wisdom and critical thinking and philosophy as something amazing. One of the greatest philosophers is Muslim. Like like they call him Hujjatul Islam, which means like the sort of like the explanation or the excuse for Islam. Not excuse, no, like something like that. Al Ghazal, right? El Al Al Ghazali. Al Ghazali. We all know Al Ghazali. Come on. But anyways, so essentially speaking, by the way, this only applies and only works, and you'll only understand what I'm saying if you believe in God. If you don't, then that's totally fine. I'm not telling you to. Um, but anyways, basically, the point is to trust God, and the point is to believe in God, and as I was saying, like back then there was no reason, or actually there were, but like you had to think about them, um to trust God and not drink alcohol anymore. um but now we see wisdom, and we see and we know that alcohol was banned for a reason. It's not permissible to drink alcohol for many reasons, right? And one would argue that even if you didn't have science at the time, you could still understand why alcohol was banned. Like, come on, like when you get shit faced, a lot of horrible things happen to you. I wouldn't understand. I never drank alcohol in my life. Although when I spray the perfume, some of the perfume gets in my mouth, and I guess that counts. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, never really drank alcohol. Never, not planning on to. Actually, not planning on any addiction at all. I don't. If I ever smoke, I'll probably smoke pot because I think it's cool. Uh, but I won't smoke. I won't drink. I won't do any of that stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it.